When I read the script the first time and I saw the title, I thought, good heavens, this must be about rock and roll or pop or something, musical. And then I read it and I thought it was fascinating and very funny.
It takes place in the art world, but it's about normal, cynical human beings, and they could be in any corporate world or any part of our world.
It also had a wonderfully old-fashioned feel about it, like an old sort of Preston Sturges comedy, but very much set in a contemporary world.
After the publication of Danny's book, which was a great success, they then wrote the screenplay, and I saw, I think, one of the first versions of the screenplay. All the people involved in this film are very dear to me. And so there had to be some way that I would be involved in this project.
My character is Beth, and I work for Art Spindle, and that's Danny Houston, and he's the biggest art dealer in London. There's a lot going on. I mean, there's so many characters, and there's so many stories, and they might be seen as a little dark or a little creepy, but at the same time, they all just really love what they're doing. There's a purity and like a darkness to all the characters. It's not so different from Hollywood, but it is a little more fascinating the way that the art world works.
Well, hello.
Good morning.
Welcome to my gallery. You like my Hearst paintings?
He promised us an exhibition of some kind, and he came up with 25 huge paintings, so it's extremely generous of him.
We're about to shoot one of the first scenes of the film that introduce my character and Stellan and Gillian, Bob and Jean Macklestone. If people look within themselves, I think everybody can probably find the same appetite that Art has. He's greedy. He's greedy. He likes beautiful things, and he has a healthy, sometimes decadent, but healthy appetite.
He's got a lot of nuances, he's got a lot of levels. Has to be charming the whole time because he has to sell work to all sorts of different kinds of people. So he has this very kind of manipulative way of talking.
Rehearsing! Quiet, please! And background action! Action!
Story. I play her muse, and she's the artist. And sparks are always flying. It's a very
it's very fiery.
Fiery relationship.
Yeah, it's
full of passion.
Yeah, it is. These girls are kind of wild chicks. You know, Jodie's obviously come out of somewhere in New York, and somewhere she's kind of a free spirit. Elaine's a complete crackhead who's completely into her art.
The book is actually written about the New York art world, but it was very appropriately done. It was the 90s art world, which happened a bit more in New York. Now it seems like the art world is much stronger in London. Well, with Damien Hirst being the biggest artist, living artist right now, today, and we're very lucky he's connected with the movie.
Are we all right to go in now? Yes. Lovely. You good? Okay. Everyone else, guys.
I'm the only nice person in this film, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
I think so. Maybe
Yeah,
Joanna Lumley.
Oh,
Joanna Lumley's quite nice.
Yeah, but we did do a whole bitching scene about you as well, which you're not going to like, babe.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you're not going to like that too.
Oh, what did he say about me?
Oh, it's just a bitchy scene.
Oh.
But one of them's bigging you up, one of them wants to sleep. Anyway, gossiping.
Horrible. Excuse me, you're in a light. Thank you. She's cataloguing the art world and showing it as such a horrible, brutal place, and they think, oh, how funny and lovely, let's pay $1 million trillion for it. But what this film's really about is all the kind of people around the art scene who, like the bottom feeders, who are...
The feeders, the ones that make it the art scene. And in this film, that's what it especially does. It highlights, like my character is, she's not come from, she may have come from art school, but she's not in that scene. But you know, it's that kind of rawness of art. You know, I'm a video artist, and that whole sort of difference between, you know, the big artists that are selling their pictures for like 11 million.
It's all just about hype and positioning and projection.
I'm Danny Moynihan. I'm the writer of the script and author of the book. I'm also one of the producers. Well, I've been involved in the art world in one way or another for many years, as a painter and as a dealer and as I suppose I've collected art, and so it gave me the background to write the book, because I knew all the characters involved in the art world.
You know, in a way, you don't need to know about the art world to appreciate this film. It's about any world where there's a lot of money and a lot of people who are addicted to things, collectors and agents who are, you know, it's all desperate people trying to keep their heads above the lovely champagne-y water.
Okay, and action.
After every interview that you do, just go like this.
I thought it would be fun to play him because I haven't done anybody like him. And that's what I'm usually looking for, different stuff to do and to meet different kind of difficulties. But it's also, when I choose a project, I can do it because of the role, but I can also do it because of the project, because the project is interesting, or that I'm extremely well paid, that the cast is cool, or there's so many factors that come into play.
Having sex with Stellan, who is the big collector, very rich, billionaire type guy, and he is basically funding my gallery.
This film doesn't go into the complications of all those people's lives in detail.
To be honest, I've learned a lot about art through doing this film, because I knew some things about it, but I've learned about a lot more artists, and I'm much more intrigued by it all.
I just try to be good to the film by being light most of the time, and avoid my usual darkness. Smile a little more, maybe.
Oh, it's so good. How was it? Oh, he, men, God, men.
I'm really excited by Elaine's art, played by Jamie Winston, and so I basically have to have a lesbo action with her.
I play a woman called Jean Macklestone, who is the wife of a very wealthy collector in this case. He has a lot of money, and their life seems to pretty much revolve around purchasing art. I think she's hitting the limit with the amount of boredom that she experiences in the relationship, and she's been able to ride on the nature of the two of them, of what they mean in the art world and in society, and their collection and all of that. Her husband probably doesn't care that much about the art itself, to the point that we see at the end he's able to do what he does. But she actually really cares about the artwork and the pieces. I think she'd be very artistic herself if she had gone in that direction in her life, as opposed to just being on the arm of a wealthy man. Art is a very important part of my life, and I've collected for a long time. This area that we're talking about that's represented in this film is on a whole other level than what I deal with in my, little wimpy collection.
Well, Joe's a young artist who obviously sort of came out of art school like Central St Martin's and produced some kind of interesting sort of conceptual pieces, and got a bit of notoriety when he was very young, and has since maybe waned a little in the art community, but is remembered, enjoys the ladies and enjoys bringing people over to look at his work and trying to seduce anyone, any age. Yeah, it's a hard one. No, and he's a little fan, he's a little sort of all over himself, he likes touching himself and doing it. He kind of, you know, I think he gets off on himself as much as anyone else. I think he's sort of, when he's explaining his art or doing something, I think he's sort of getting off on himself at the same time. So it's sort of like a double whammy. And it just feels very European, actually, the script right now. It feels very sort of London right now, right here. Damien Hirst, you know what I mean? Like Gillian, George, Tracy Emin, all those people. It's like that's what it's all about right now. It's like the sort of new sort of pop world of art.
Come on, guys.
I go in as a pro divorcee. She's been divorced 3 times, and I think each time she's probably got more. Every time she's fleeced the man even more. But I sort of feel that she does it with great style and with great panache, and it's all right. So she fleeces them, but I think she gives them a good time too. Especially in England, I think at this moment, with all the emphasis on Brit art and the British artists, it's a very mysterious process. How some of these artists emerge, you know, and who chooses and who makes these things happen, who makes somebody, you know, into a great contemporary artist.
What do you think of this role, this art spindle, this dealer?
Well, I don't really know quite what to make of him necessarily, but I know who my nemesis is. He's right there. There he is. Yeah. Oops. No, he's hiding. Hiding.
Robert Frame, would-be rock artist. Rocks that look like genitalia, particularly what interests him. Yeah, it's quite nice. It's quite nice. There is a little arc. You think that he's just a servant at the beginning, and by the end, he's off to the south of France with Mrs. Rheingold.
She's quite closed up. You can't really read her at all. You don't really know. She seems to be a devoted and elegant, sort of silent wife. She's been happily married to him. He's very rich and he's treated her well. She's a bit younger than him. They've lived quite well. They're living in a big, comfortable flat, but it's a bit shabby, it's a bit cold, and everything's going a bit wrong. And he's old and he's cantankerous and he's getting more set in his ways. Irritating. Her eyes are beginning to flick around, see what other possibilities there are. I know he's a difficult old beast, but he did buy it from Mondrian. And it's valuable to him. He loves it dearly.
The character that I play is, of course, to put it mildly, eccentric. In fact, some people would think he was completely off his head. His wife certainly thinks so. He's an old man. He's German-Jewish, hence the name Rheingold. And he has all the acquisitive instincts of a collector. It's a comedy, because it shows these people up for the frauds that they are. And old Rheingold, he knows they're frauds. And even though he will not accept the money, he can't resist faking it. My wife and the butler have no, I mean, I don't think it's a physical thing, but he's also trying to get me to sell.
He's as close as can be. I think, in other terms, she would call him her rock. Do you know what I mean? He's complicit in all this. But the offer came from Mr. Maccleston.
At the beginning you think he's just a servant, and at the end you realise he's a little more Machiavellian than that. Rather disgusting characters who lurk on the edges of the art world in this movie. All of them revolving around this immensely valuable picture, like flies around shit. He's another fly around another pile of shit, I guess. I don't assassinate him character-wise. I think he has a very close relationship with Mrs. Rheingold, and that's rather delicious.
Hey, Gonzès.
Okay, guys, here we go. Shillings and roll, please. And act.
I thought it was dance time.
This is my sixth film in the last 3 or 4 months, 2 or 3 months that I've been in. But one was 1 day, another was 2 or 3 days, this was 3 days. It doesn't matter. It's what does it mean in the context